Activision Blizzard's financial call came rolling around. And as you can imagine, there's been a lot of interesting things that have come out of that. First, just before we get into the minutiae of the numbers, I'll just sort of set it all up and make you understand what goes on. Activision Blizzard, obviously, they floated on the stock exchange. People own stock. That means they have to report to shareholders. This is traditionally done in the form of quarterly financial calls every 3 months. Blizzard executives sit on a call and explain from various departments what made money, what was good. They have journalists there at the end and shareholders to ask questions, and they answer them as best as they can. Now, there's a lot of fuckery that goes on with this. Let me just give you some examples. Certainly, they very rarely load these calls with anything bad, anything negative. If something negative has occurred, what they do is they put a positive spin on it. Also, timing. Timing is important because you can release something just before the quarterly call to give yourself a cash injection, or you can kind of bury something. We can wait for the quarterly financial call to get out the way, and boom, then we do this thing over here, and then we probably don't have to talk about it quite so much because people won't remember it by the time the next quarterly call comes around. So there's a lot of date manipulation, time manipulation, a lot of stuff like that goes on. But the bottom line is that certainly having read transcripts of these calls and covered them before, they are very positive loaded nonsense and not a reflection of what's actually going on with Activision Blizzard, which now I feel for 2 years we've just when was the last positive headline? I just don't know. I'd struggle to think of it. And by positive headline, I mean one that was naturally, organically generated by Activision Blizzard doing something good, not by them using their cronies in the games media to just give them a fluffy interview and publish everything they say as the complete gospel. So let's take a look at one thing, right? Activision Blizzard. The one thing that I think I have come to despise about them, and it was the same with Riot Games when they were on top of the world, is how they think they know best. They think they know everything. They think they know better than you. They think they know what you want. They think that everything they create, everything they produce is solid gold, and it always will be. And if you get upset about it or think you've been lied to or sold a false bill of goods, that's just your fault. Your expectations weren't reasonable. That's the Activision Blizzard I've come to know. It's so far removed from the Blizzard that used to have, just care and attention on every product. Every game was just jam-packed with little Easter eggs and little special moments that just showed how much they care. Now they can't even remaster one of their great games and actually get it out the door without it being a complete clusterfuck. If you missed my VOD talking about Warcraft 3 Reforged, you'll be able to watch it by the time you see this, probably. So it should be up on YouTube. They are garbage. They have become a garbage company full of people who just phone it in. And as long as these meetings, as long as they make money, that's all that matters. So let's start with the first thing. Do you remember what they said about Warcraft Classic? That's Warcraft Classic. Oh, we're in night mode again. I'm really going to have to get to grips with this outrageous... We stopped the strobing, but now everything appears in night mode. So we've won one battle and lost another. But anyway, you may remember what they said about... thank you for the cheers there and starting off another hype train in the middle of a stream. I really appreciate that. They told everybody, they said so many times, World of Warcraft Classic, you don't want it. You think you want it, but the features we've made in our amazing game, it's just better now, and you've just got nostalgia. And what happened? They finally bowed down because they were like, well, fuck it, man. This looks like a way we can just make some easy money. People have been harping on about it. Let's just throw it out there. How much work do we really have to do? We're putting out an old game. We just need the servers. We'll just do it. Well, it was an unprecedented success. It was the #1 game on Twitch. Its peak number of viewers far exceeds that of the Overwatch League and the Call of Duty League, which are their, cash cows. You have to pay 20 million, 25 million, 30 million in some cases to get a franchise in that league, to get 138,000 people watching you on YouTube. By the way, the lowest opening day from any, the lowest opening day peak from any Overwatch League season to date. Thanks for the gifted subs, Guilt Trip. Or I could get myself a World of Warcraft streamer, put him on my books, and break Twitch records and be the #1 game on Twitch. It's a bit of a no-brainer. It doesn't cost you 20 million, does it? So anyway, this game that you definitely didn't want, definitely was a nostalgic pipe dream, definitely wasn't going to do good for Blizzard. It doubled the subscriber counts. Their World of Warcraft subscriber count doubled. It doubled in size. I'll say that again. Doubled. That is insane. That is an insane success story and they couldn't even see it coming. They couldn't see it coming. Right? I'll read it to you here, which again, you won't be able to see it in night mode. This is what they said on the call. This is from Alan Brack, the guy that did the shit apology. Given the content updates for Modern WoW and the cadence that we have for Classic, we exited our year with a subscriber base that was double what it was at the end of Q2. And we see players remaining engaged with both versions of the game. We launched Visions of N'Zoth, which is a content patch for Modern WoW in January. Engagement with Classic has been particularly strong in the East, and we see very high levels of player retention there. Brack also vaguely touched upon how Blizzard intends to continue to support World of Warcraft Classic moving forward. When we designed the model for World of Warcraft Classic, it was important that players have a single existing subscription to support both games. We think about the WoW community supporting both, even though Classic and Modern are very distinct experiences. And we've committed to continuing to support both of those experiences over the long term. So it's been a success, almost unparalleled. In what it's achieved. It's made them a ton of money. It brought people who tapped out of World of Warcraft back to fucking World of Warcraft. And people are now maintaining, kind of both. Like, I went out. I'm ashamed to say that I actually paid money to Blizzard to get a World of Warcraft Classic account because it was something that actually passed me by at the time. I wasn't into it. All my friends were. I said, this ain't for me, guys. I'd rather, be drinking and getting laid or whatever. If you guys want to go raiding with a fucking neckbeard called Balthazar at fucking 4 a.m., you do that, right? But I'm not doing that. So I missed it, and I was always a little bit like, maybe I should have had that gaming experience. Maybe I should have had that fucking gaming experience in my life, in my lexicon, so I can fucking, draw from it and talk about it intelligently. So when Classic came out, I went and I bought fucking, the game, and I got myself a 3-month subscription or whatever it was, and I played it, and I said, I'll grind to level 60, do an end level boss, and then that'll be the end of it. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't even make it to level 60, but I did go on some raids and I did do some stuff, and, I feel like I've got the experience now. Still not for me, but what it taught me was, from having played Modern and having played Classic, Classic is the far superior game for a bunch of reasons, just in terms of how it reinforces sociability and how it actually gates off content. There's content in the game that can only be got to via achievement, via being good, via having enough people, via having a functioning guild. I actually like that model. I think that's more in line with what gaming is supposed to be. Not everybody that plays a game should get... it's not a necessity that you have to see everything. And certain types of game, with MMOs being one of them, function better, in my opinion, when certain content is gated off, so only an elite percentage will ever achieve it. That's just how games have always worked since I was a kid. But anyway, the bottom line is that for me, Classic was a no-brainer, and they couldn't even see it. They couldn't even see it. It was just in their, in their arrogance. They were just like, whatever you ask for is wrong. And we've seen this consistently with Activision Blizzard. Everyone in StarCraft, hey, give us microtransactions and skins and cosmetics and, and they went, nah, game's dead. Now we'll do it. And only now will we do it. Why didn't you do it when the game was the hot shit and the community were telling you this model fucking worked? Why didn't you do it then? You didn't do it then because they don't like to be told what to do. They don't believe that anybody can have a better idea than them. They don't think anybody can be smarter than them. They're the people that are running this huge, super successful business, and by success, we don't mean critical success. Warcraft 3 Reforged, lowest ever game on Metacritic, a new low for Activision Blizzard in being the studio that actually produced such dreck, and it's an insult to the fans. World of Warcraft Classic, it worked. Warcraft 3 given no attention, no care, because they didn't see how it could be a money spinner. No microtransactions involved with it, so that's how they rolled it out. So that was number one that really stood out to me. I think it's hilarious that one of the big success stories in their financial call was something they said you didn't want in the first fucking place, and they were never going to commit to it. What absolute garbage people they are. But anyway, it doesn't end there. Let's just talk about some of the things that I think point to, not such great times ahead for Activision Blizzard. Over at the Esports Observer, a fine publication that if you're interested in the business side of gaming and esports, they do great work. So go check it out. Game publisher Activision Blizzard exceeded its outlook for both the fourth quarter and full year of 2019, but reported year-over-year declines in net revenues for both categories. The company saw Q4 2019 net revenues fall 70%, while FY 2019 net revenues declined 13%. So overall, you can see there, its revenues down 13%. While the company as a whole declined, Activision saw a Q4 2019 increase in sales of 1%, largely due to strong sales of Call of Duty Modern Warfare and the popularity of Call of Duty Mobile, which has passed 150 million downloads. Full year net revenue still fell 10% for the publisher to $2.22 billion, due in part to online shooter franchise Destiny exiting the company's portfolio. Now, just as an interesting aside, as I've told you guys before, Bobby Kotick is currently named in a lawsuit for fiduciary responsibility, I think it is, because shareholders believe that by letting Destiny go and letting it leave the company and thus having the negative effect on its potential profits and revenue, he acted irresponsibly. So I'm going to try and pull what I can on that. I think there was something insane where it was like Bobby Kotick in shares and expenses and salary and all these other benefits, because he's named specifically in the lawsuit. It was something like he gets 32 million a year. Oh, this company. Anyway, across console, PC, mobile, and touch points like esports, the momentum for Call of Duty could not be stronger, said Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick on an earnings call, and this success illustrates the larger opportunities we have across our diverse and large wholly owned library of titles dating back to our founding 40 years ago. Having our franchises on all platforms and all geographies with a constant flow of content and leveraging the additional touch points we have available to us like esports and advertising continues to be our focus. In the company's Q4 2018 earnings call, Kotick had warned that 2019 would be a transition year for the company. Blizzard, great way of putting that. Yeah, we fucked up a bunch, so let's not expect us to make as much money. By the way, that was the year they announced record revenue and did record layoffs. Great guys. Blizzard Entertainment was a significant contributor to the decline due to a lack of major game releases. The publisher saw Q4 revenues fall 13% to $595 million, with the year declining 25% to $1.72 billion. So specifically, Blizzard were the significant contributor. Blizzard is the one with the problems. Blizzard games are the ones that people are running away from in droves and not paying money for and not getting involved in microtransactions and not renewing subscription fees for. The company did single out the success of World of Warcraft Classic, which has kept subscriber numbers for the long-running MMO title above pre-classic figures since its launch in August of last year. According to Kotick, the company doubled the size of the active World of Warcraft community in the second half of 2019. Activision Blizzard plans to roll out more remastered games in the future. So what are we left with here? Well, I mean, first of all, they've made less money. They've made less profits. And Activision, the Activision component has been propped up essentially by strong sales of Modern Warfare and Call of Duty Mobile. That the almost unprecedented success of Call of Duty Mobile, which, as you're going to see, is incredibly dangerous to the future of the company and the making good games. That has essentially bailed them out and made the losses not quite as significant as they would have been. And the only thing that's propped up Blizzard, the Blizzard part of the company, which contributes to 25% of the decline, is down 25% itself, is World of Warcraft Classic, the thing nobody wanted, apparently. What an absolute fucking shit show. What a fucking nightmare this is. So, let's get to the next part. Well, and I've been told, by the way, I've not played it. I wouldn't play it. Despite them saying, "Oh, what's the matter? Don't you have phones?" I do. Yeah, I do have a phone. I don't use my phone to play games. Like, even when I'm taking a shit, honestly, I read a book. I just don't play games on my mobile. Like, I've got nothing against it. I'm not snooty about it. I think there's been some probably good games on mobile. None spring immediately to mind, but I have been told that Call of Duty the Call of Duty Mobile is one of them. That Call of Duty is on mobile is a good game. All of the Call of Duty players have told me that they were playing it more than like Modern Warfare at one point because there was a couple of bugs and some patches that they needed to iron out. Generally, the response to it was incredibly positive. I've also had people tell me that they didn't like it. It didn't chime with them. That FPS games on a phone, it's just a pipe dream. Whatever, right? Like I can listen to anyone's opinions on that. It's fine for me. But anyway, because of that financial success and that 150 million downloads, Bobby Kotick has come out and basically said, "Oh, we're a fucking mobile platform now. Basically, Activision Blizzard is mobile now because that's the direction they're gonna head in." I'm just seeing if I can get you a quicker version to open. I might try this again, actually. Come on, Gamasutra. You can do it. All right. I'll read it on the less prestigious Gaming Bolt. You won't foil me. Here we go. Mobile is now a leading platform, says Activision Blizzard CEO. We are hard at work on high-quality mobile games for all of our most important franchises, Bobby Kotick confirms. Now, let me tell you, guys, expect Overwatch on mobile very soon. In fact, I would be amazed, and this is my gut feeling, so sources haven't told me this, but I know that they want to get, Overwatch on portable platforms. They'd love to get it on Switch. They'd love to get it on mobile. And I think one of the main they'll probably try and launch it maybe around about the same time as Overwatch 2. That would be my gut feeling, like some sort of double whammy, because Overwatch 2 isn't a sequel. Overwatch 2 is a disgusting cash grab. Overwatch 2 is what we would call DLC. It's a mode that probably should have been in the original Overwatch game, but they are making so little money on Overwatch in terms of where they expected it to be, because people don't want to fucking buy the loot boxes, and also there's legislation looming that might put the kibosh on loot boxes in general in the gaming industry, that they have to find other ways to milk the fucking money out of you. So they're going to take all the degenerate weebs, all the fucking losers that are like, "Oh, but look at Winston's cute face, and oh, Tracer kissed her girlfriend," and they're gonna milk those people dry by selling them a sequel that is not fit to be labeled as one. So, one of the anecdotes, I've told it many times, when I was talking to a Blizzard employee for the investigation portion of. In fact, I might even have put it in the Overwatch League expose. It's hard to remember. There were so many hours of interview material I had to go through. But the bottom line is, when Bobby Kotick got to see the first ever playable beta version of Overwatch. He went, "That's brilliant. How long before we can get it on mobile?" That was his first question. When can I play it on mobile? So you're going to see Overwatch on mobile. That's what he's alluding to there. It's definitely coming. And unfortunately, what this means is you're going to see more shitty mobile games coming out of Activision Blizzard and their limited resources that they have, where you're already hearing reports from people at Activision Blizzard being spread across multiple titles, multiple games. People from Heroes of the Storm being pulled onto Diablo 4, so Heroes of the Storm gets less content and less attention and stuff like this. You're going to see more and more of that because the focus is going to be mobile, because mobile makes moolah. Mobiles games make money. That's all they care about. And I'll just read you the quotes here. Activision made a big statement with their very first step into the mobile gaming market, with Call of Duty Mobile seeing massive success with its downloads and revenue and becoming one of the best performing mobile games of 2019. Given that most would have expected them to double down on the mobile market with more incoming games in the future, and it definitely seems that that's going to be the case. So much so, in fact, that mobile has quickly become their primary platform. Speaking during the recent quarterly financial call, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick spoke about the success of Call of Duty Mobile and how mobile has become Activision's leading platform, with more games in the same vein currently in development and planned for releases. Kotick also hinted at other unannounced Call of Duty initiatives that Activision expects will contribute to the brand's growth. I'm not really sure how you can grow the Call of Duty brand beyond what it is, but why not? Maybe there's shit I don't know about. Using Call of Duty as an example, with the introduction of Call of Duty Mobile, we grew our player base from 40 million to 100 million players in less than a year, said Kotick. And we expect significant growth in the Call of Duty franchise in 2020 as compared to 2019. As a result of this, and from other unannounced Call of Duty initiatives, mobile, in fact, is now our leading platform. The business model for Call of Duty Mobile is free-to-play, which enables the rapid development of large community of players with the option to purchase digital items and services, as well as our ability to generate advertising revenues. Cha-ching! We successfully developed a great game through mobile, he added. Our franchises have the power to attract far bigger audiences than previously. We are hard at work on high-quality mobile games for all of our most important franchises. And just today, reports emerged of a leaked Crash Bandicoot Endless Runner game for mobile devices. You may remember in the last time I covered one of their quarterly financial calls, that they were talking about how great it was that they put out Crash Bandicoot, which is going to be developed by Candy Crush Studio King. It's clear Activision's going to redouble its efforts in the mobile market with its biggest properties. Now, after the fucking nightmare as well of the launch of Warcraft 3, which was addressed in this call as well. That's been covered in the previous video. They also said in this call they were going to make more remakes and remasters. They're planning to do more of them. And it's like, no, fuck me, guys. Like, you're making mobile games and remastering old stuff. Like, we wanted Classic because Classic was good. We wanted a remaster of fucking Warcraft 3, which you fucked up and turned everyone off the game. We don't want you to just keep churning out your old fucking back catalog. But that's what they're doing. So you can see here, Activision Blizzard has several more remakes and remasters planned for 2020. Though Warcraft 3 Reforged had a rough start, Activision Blizzard plans to release several more remastered games and remakes this year. The parent company of both Activision Publishing and Blizzard Entertainment hosted a conference call with investors and analysts yesterday. The bulk of the call was dedicated to discussing their recent financial performance, but Blizzard executives also shared a few details about the company's lineup of upcoming games. In addition, our business units will continue to tap into our portfolio of beloved IP to bring several remastered and reimagined experiences to our players in 2020, which we will announce closer to launch. So you're getting, right, this is what we're getting from Activision Blizzard in this year. We're getting mobile games, we're getting remakes, we're getting secondhand knockoff products. And the crazy thing is, they're doing this and they're still losing money. They're still, they're still not making, well, no, they're not losing money. They're just not making as much money as they made last year. Their profits are down, revenue's down. It's like, at what point do they understand that, you know, maybe people don't want this? They would actually want you to go and make like good games again, like you used to do. But that's not happen. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It is going to going to spell the doom of this company. Like basically, what's going to happen is at some point, I think Blizzard, the Blizzard part of Activision Blizzard, will become so wretched and meaningless that I think like in 2-3 years they probably sell it off to someone else, like EA or someone would have the money to buy it, and then that would just be the actual death of Blizzard. I mean, the Blizzard we know is already dead, but there's like some vague shell of it. It's like your grandmother died and you went to a fucking, what they called, a vivisectionist or whatever, and you got her stuffed. That's what Blizzard is right now. It's your dead stuffed grandma in the lot. You go, oh, Miss Grammy. I do miss Grammy, but Grammy's dead. She's full of sawdust. That's where we're at.